Welcome to Station WBMCT, Black Middle Class Talk, where we talk, get down, throw the communication around, message, receiver, feedback. Let's get it on. Your host, CC, and your co-host, EB. Let's talk, communicate. Welcome aboard. Running a little bit behind time on our schedule, but that's fine. We're here. We had to delay it a day, but we're here. And we're going to discuss, as we always do, and on Black Middle Class Talk, we're going to discuss we have four segments to the hour show. The first segment is going to be domestic and international news. The second segment of the hour will be the subject, is the media friend or foe to black people? And then on the third segment of the show, we'll relate it to our topic board, which you see when the show comes on. We have the topic board, and every subject that we pick, generally, we can pull it off our subject board and relate it to what the issues of the day with black people are, in our opinion. And then in the fourth segment of the hour, we always try and leave it on a high note with entertainment, if we can. So, as always, my name is CC, and my co-host here is EB, and we just started out with EB always brings us opens us up with what's going on in the world and his perception of the news and how he reads it and what's going on. So, EB, roll in on us and see what's going on. Tell me what's happening in the world today.
Well, newsflash, ceasefire is over with. Oh, no.
What?
Ceasefire is still here.
What?
Ceasefire's over.
Oh, man, you got me confused now.
Let's say, I'm just as confused as you are. Like, say, okay, so now, like, exactly. We're in the middle of a ceasefire, and they both shooting at each other. So I don't know how that works, but like you say, we got to remember we're in these kind of times. Like CC always say, we're in a different time.
Yes.
In a total different time as far as like how this country is being led, and how, things are interacting with other countries for us. Our president thinks that we are one of the most beloved countries in the world and respected, and it's the total opposite. That's all in his mind. Piggyback on what I just said about the president, his thoughts. He went to the NATO summit, and he personally berated all of the NATO countries, and he even made the statement that he. I guess I'm going to be careful about how I word this, is that he made the statement that by being in the war with Iran, that was a test to see if the other countries would support him.
And before let's get an understanding of NATO.
Right.
It stands for the National Alliance Treaty Organization, right?
Yes.
And that was established after World War II. Right?
Yeah.
As a union of European countries, almost look like to me, overseas.
Well, no, but you have the European Union as well. So they do their thing all to themselves, and then in NATO, that's when the U.S. and other countries join with them.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we got to understand that the problem is Russia. Russia's outside of NATO, right?
Right.
And so. Can you kind of explain that to me? Why is Russia outside of NATO?
Well, Russia is outside of NATO because they never joined it. They never had no intention of joining it. But then again, what the problem became for them is that when they made NATO and all those countries that joined together, is that they have the protection, because of course at that time the United States was the most powerful country. So if it's all these little brothers, so in other words, all them people that's in that pack, the NATO is that you cannot do anything with those countries without consulting the NATO. So NATO would say, like when George Bush started the war in Iraq, He didn't go to NATO. See that right there? That's what the issue is. Before Trump started that war, he should have went to the NATO and told them what his intention was and lay it out. Basically, they said,
and forgive me that I didn't know. It was the question. Let me try and clarify a little bit better with Russia. Russia is a communist or
communist
type,
country. Yes.
yeah, the country, right?
Right.
And a fascist type country. And so the whole World War II was about fighting Nazis and fascism. The same thing that we're dealing with here in the United States right now. This is when we talk about fascism, we're talking about like a dictatorship, a one-man rule. And if you look up the definition of fascism, you're going to see Hitler's picture pop up somewhere. Because Hitler was annihilating. He was about a superior race, and that's how you get the Jews to being annihilated, because this man believed that he could just knock them off the face of the earth, and he made and that's a ridiculous type of thought to me, that you're going to knock a race off the face of the earth. You'll knock I can see a few million. But, all that type killing. So I just wanted to clarify, when we talk about NATO, National Alliance Treaty, that's if you attack one NATO country, that's equivalent to attacking them all.
Exactly.
And so, but of course, the U.S. is the most powerful where we were.
We
were.
Right.
And I don't say that trying to be funny.
Nope.
We were a powerful military force. And we're not anymore without the partners. Now you see why Trump is upset with NATO, because when he went and did this drive-by war with Iraq, that his partner, that NATO didn't join in because you didn't consult them. They knew it was a bad idea. He just think he's going to do a Venezuela and go and take it over. And it went south on him. And so now he's stuck. And so now he goes to the NATO conference and he's trying to get upset and feeling some kind of way that his buddies or the United States partners didn't join in this illegal war. And so now he's trying to make them look bad when it's him making a fool of himself, and he doesn't know how to get out of this thing, and he needs help. That's what he should be going over there. Hey, I messed. That's what he should be doing.
Exactly.
I messed up. I'm in a bad place. Of course he won't. He's blustering. He's looking even more like a fool, and the United States is embarrassed. We should be. Every American is embarrassed right now, and broke on top of that, because we're spending billions upon billions that could be going to building schools. We could be to get Affordable Health Care Act. We could be having good health insurance, but what are we going to do? We're going to blow it all up, and for nothing, killing 100-some schoolgirls purposely. I mean, in my opinion. That was an unforced error.
You're right. Can't deny it. It happened, and then the reason why it happened because of what they did, and it's kind of hard, And the other thing, like I said, going back to the NATO, treaty and how they also back in the day. Do you remember the Warsaw Pact?
Okay, what is that about? I've heard
the Warsaw Pact is Russia, Hungary, at the time Poland, all those communist countries, basically, in those countries that was ran by dictators.
Okay, so that's their equivalent.
Yeah, exactly.
Of NATO.
So those are exact. So in other words, like if you best, and so, but then again, in that pact, Russia was the big dog.
Okay.
And then all the other ones say, so if you mess with any of them, you have to have it in your head is that Russia is going to respond. But anyway, the thing that was very good, breakdown the way that you just
I just wanted to clarify.
That was a good clarification. That as far as like when I made the statement about he went over there and he was berating them, is that he's berating them in a way to try to show his strength. But like CC said, it just shows his weakness, and it just shows how we are. And he thinks we're the most respected, we're the most non-respected. Because all of them, they even, I think they said they called a hot mic that they was talking about. All those leaders from those other countries were sitting around, because he wasn't in the room, and they were sitting around laughing at him, about.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, and another thing on that is, what's the deal with the Air Force One? That you ever buy a vehicle and then you get a long way from home, it breaks down on you, and you have to get AAA? No, okay, the aircraft that Qatar bribed them with, or gave them a gift that we had to spend It was a $400 million aircraft, right?
Right.
We had spent another $100 million supposedly retrofitting it
Yeah.
for security purpose
right.
in there. Okay, so he flies it over there, and they're in Turkey, right?
Right.
He flies it to Turkey. That was that
Right.
big scene on the tarmac when he was walking there. Gets to Turkey, and for some reason, they having to switch back to the smaller official version of Air Force One. They took the Qatar plane, the Bride plane, and they're going to fly it to probably Germany somewhere so that the troops can get a good look at it and everything. In other words, something went wrong. Something went wrong. I don't know why.
In my ear.
So I'm just saying, it's kind of like we got a busted up plane, or do we? That you got to get your call AAA to get another plane in here. And so I mean, I'm just saying the embarrassment of the United States. Why are you taking this aircraft, which you just got maybe a year or so ago? There's no way they got that plane security fit. To strip it down, just put all anti-aircraft. I'm sure that Air Force One is a small military plane underneath somewhere,
Right.
And to do another aircraft like that in less than a year, you got to be kidding me.
Exactly.
And so that's just because they want
electronics and all that, and what it will require, to be able, because you basically gutting it. You have to gut it because there's no way for you to be able to tell that the plane that they built, that they on those wires and those like fiber optic, whether they got a tap in there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's no way else.
Software.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
It was a foolish thing.
It was.
And it's all about vanity.
Exactly. And but anyway, all the countries if I'm getting off subject, but all the countries realize the way to get through Trump is to rub his ego.
Yes. It's basic.
And it's basic. Exactly. It's basic. It don't even require much.
And we're going to talk about entertainment, the FIFA thing with the soccer player when we get there, because it's on the same line of this vanity. And, what stuns me is that all the people that are dead, especially the 13 soldiers up to this point, over nonsense. Right. So the lies is, and you look at how the Republican Party is still in this pretend mode. That's what gets me. When are we going to stop pretending? And you see the man gets off the aircraft, Trump gets off the aircraft in Turkey. He's supposedly wandering around. The president of Turkey was standing waiting on him to come. He's out there observing the flight line, looking around. He's wondering, so the president has to walk. President of Turkey has to go out on the flight line like get the man by the arm and kind of gently show him the way he's supposed to be walking.
I ain't seen the video, but I heard about it.
Just like the thing in Japan. So his condition is getting, whatever it is, and I'd say it's Alzheimer's, but I'm not a doctor. But from what I can tell, based on my experience with Alzheimer's, with an uncle and all, it seems to me he's on that same projection that Trump is of the cognitive thing. And, he's sitting there with Zelensky, and he's one of the reporters asked him, but actually he was just talking. And he was like, well, I've been talking enough. Why don't you guys ask Putin a question? Okay. That was Zelensky sitting next to him, right? And he looks over because the reporter's like, Putin, asked Putin, do you mean Zelensky there? So he kind of glanced up. I called Putin, and if you guys want to have a question for Putin, just let me know. I'll let Putin know. He tried to play it off, but the damage had been done. You have mistaken Zelensky for Putin. And you did it right there, and you couldn't play it off. Because that's the type of stuff, like I say, when you're on this early stage of Alzheimer's, you can't, I don't know how they're going to hide it, for the rest of the year. Now, I don't think he's going to get out, the rest of the month. But.
And you're saying is that the thing is that, and I just look at his body language, when Zelensky was talking, he was saying, when he was talking to the reporter, it shows that it don't matter that you have lots of people, on the battlefield. And Trump was over there. He just like, man, this man. He's like, you can't keep talking about my boss that way. I got to say something.
Yes.
It just kept. Real quick. The last note that I have for news is that the the senator from Maine, he dropped out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and in fact, let's just take a break because I also want to talk about Mitch McConnell. So we'll
Okay.
tie in Mitch
Okay.
McConnell
With that new
with what was that guy's name?
Greg
Pradner.
Pradner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
Pradner.
just go ahead and before we get to our subject, it's media friend or foe. We'll
Okay.
take a quick break and we're gonna go ahead and finish up with them two guys
right.
real quick. So we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back. Okay, I know we're gonna have to kind of extend what we talked about in the earlier segment before we get to our subject. Go ahead, Graham Plattner. That's the one you were going to talk about, and you were just saying in the break about vetting him.
Yes,
Why
yeah.
didn't the DNC vet him better?
Better, because he came to the door. He came to the door with stank on him. And the thing about it is that they
Was it type stink that Trump has?
Oh, it's worse than that.
Oh, wow, okay.
No. It's not as worse than that. It's almost equal because the thing that the stank that they got on him is the same thing that they have on Trump. But when he came in, you have heavyweights like Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna. All these people, Ro Khanna. These are heavyweights. So when you give out your if CC endorsed me for anything, and then CC don't take it because his name is going with me.
Right.
But anyway, all that being said, I just felt that they should have done a much better job at vetting him. And then what they came up at the end when this next person came out, they should have did it when that first person came out. Because prior to him announcing, they had said different things about him. He had a Nazi, tattoo on that he ain't.
Okay. And I heard that too, but as far as vetting, he was vetted, by the way, but he wasn't vetted by the DNC. He was vetted, the way I understand it, by a third party. And I think that's where the ball got dropped. Because I was buying it too now. I'm not mad at Bernie Sanders and all those other ones you said.
You were buying
Pradner.
Pradner. You was buying Pradner.
Yeah, I was buying his line. I do. He runs a good line. I mean, not that, like I ain't heard it before. But I'm assuming that, he's an up and up guy. I assume that if he had this big a platform that, that he doesn't have the baggage. Okay, and I'd let the tattoo thing go because I was like, well, yeah, maybe he was a bigot in the beginning, but bigots change too. I mean, I see a thing. You don't want to hear I've made mistakes in language, and I'm not a tattoo guy, but if you could have recordings of my past, maybe. But you know what I mean? I'm just saying we do things when we're younger, but it's not to say we can't change. So I was willing to look past, and I never saw the tattoo, but I was accepting his,
his explanation.
He, said he had, but then as you go on, like I say, when this stuff starts dribbling out, and then the first lady, I was like, well, where was she at before? Now the man was on the stage. Where's the police report? Okay, I kind of saw past that, but then the second one comes up. I just okay, and he's in trouble. Did
he start wavering then, or you jumped off?
Like I said, he's in trouble now. In fact, it was quick, and so I want to get to. He was lying about his background now because it comes out. He's talking about he's a hard-working oyster farmer.
Okay.
And come to find out, he's an oyster farmer, but it's because his dad is rich. In fact, his dad bought him a house. Yeah, dad bought him, went to a rich school, a high-end school, one of them big good schools across the tracks that we black folks rarely see. Yeah, and then and his dad bought him a $200,000 house, I think, and he sold it for $205. I'm just saying that he portrayed himself to be something that he was not, and he's a good speaker. But I kind of thought there was something odd about him because he never shaved. And to be in that position, I'm not down with people who can't shave that want to be professional. I get everybody's doing the beard and everything, the macho.
But he
thing.
is just a raggedy beard. Like
On top of that, he didn't even trim it up.
Right.
And so I was suspicious of that, but now it all comes out, and you saw. And then when he did his farewell speech the other night, it was a done deal for me. Man, you're not taking responsibility. You screwed up. You shouldn't even been on the stage with that type baggage. Especially, and another reason why I was kind of bagging, he's a military guy, right? He's a hardcore military guy, and they say he had PTSD, whatever. But I'm just saying, I was kind of in his corner for a second, but I can see where it all fell down. Okay.
But just on that same line is that, because this, like you say, all about subject intermingle, is those people that follow that, hearing that they saying that he did these sexual assaults and all that, are those people to be recognized or to identified as people that cohort with sexual abuse or assault?
I don't understand what you're saying. What people?
People that got on the train.
Oh, in the beginning?
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't fault them because all that wasn't out like it is now. I didn't, I was on the train, but I didn't know the man had that tight baggage.
Right, but I'm saying is that, we had a time is that people have, like the same thing they said about Trump, is that when Trump started his campaign, a whole lot of things that Trump was saying, people would get done away for less.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, the time.
So that's what I'm saying is that, right. and it's ironic how that ties in now.
Yes.
And that is to be able to be supported.
Right. You're talking about disqualification.
The disqualification, right?
Things you've done, you almost get to be perfect, almost.
Exactly. What I'm saying, but was that a bad thing?
What the sexual?
No, I'm saying no. Is what you just stated? You say, it used to be you have to be almost close to being perfect. But is that a bad thing for somebody that's going to be representing you in all your causes?
I don't think so.
It's not. It's not. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But then again, we're in a different time. That's the time back then. Because
you got to look at the guy that's running the country. Is that the standard? How does he get away with all the same thing they accused Platinum of? This man's president of the United States, even worse. So, but anyway, let's go to Mitch McConnell real quick. There's enough of that. Mitch McConnell, is he dead or not? I mean, they can't find. I mean, they lying, talking about everybody saying they talked to him for 20 minutes. Now, all you guys can't talk to him for 20 minutes. In fact, they asked one guy, well, if you talk to him for 20 minutes, can you just call him real quick for 20 seconds? And the guy didn't do it. On TV, on CNN, I think it was. Right. Your job. And so, because, they had an emergency call at McConnell's home, I think it was. Right. They came, did CPR, yes. And they took me in. Yeah, CPR, Mitch McConnell. Exactly. Right. Then what we're going to get to is media.
That. Right.
And so since then, they've been trying to contact him. The day of, his wife flew to China. She's already in China. And what that strategy they surmise is that if she's out the country, then, she can't declare him dead, so to speak. Because I think he's dead myself. If not physically, I think he's brain dead, and he's not. I'm willing to bet you won't hear his voice again.
Right, and the thing about it is that I was just sitting thinking like, man, why is that such a big deal? And I said, because they got a Democratic governor. And
yes,
and I was like, that's what the connect is with that.
They're running the clock.
Right,
they're trying to run the clock
out.
Not only that, so it's about the senators because this is a margin game, and the Senate is hard to take. I'm going to tell you why the Senate is hard to take. Because every state, no matter what the population, state, they get 2 senators. Right. Every state.
Right.
And so you got to figure Democrats are behind the curve on that. It's hard to get Nebraska and Omaha.
They had to flip 4 seats.
Yes.
And not lose none of the ones they already got.
And so I'm just saying that's part of the rigged game, that every state gets 2 senators. It's just ridiculous.
Right.
Like Maine gets 2 senators, and they only have 1 point something million people in the whole state.
Wow, okay.
Chicago's got 3 million in the city alone. So that's what I say. That's part of the rigged system.
And I thought it was proportional to the people. So I just learned something right now.
Yeah, for Senate.
For Senate. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was proportional to people, but you're right. There's only 100.
Proportional. You're talking about representative.
Right, yeah, I got it now. Yeah.
Good. But before we finish this segment, I want to get to our subject. Is the media friend or foe to black people? And we just talked about how Mitch McConnell's being hidden. Doesn't even make the news, the evening news.
Right.
And that's a major thing.
Right.
And so same thing with Trump. It doesn't. Trump does some crazy stuff, says some crazy things. He's wandering all over the place. Doesn't mean make the news. So the media has been captured. Now, that's for America, but it was captured for us for 400 years. I mean, we've been the boogeyman since I can remember. You can look up the statistics before we went to this. I kind of looked it up to kind of verify what we black people already know.
Right.
I'm sure you would say the same thing. I would say that the media is really, I wouldn't say it's a friend of black people.
It's not.
Yeah, I would say it's more of a.
And it hadn't been for extremely long time.
Right. I don't think it ever been because, you can look up the studies, and I kind of wrote something down. It says studies revealed the depiction of black people in poverty-related news stories can skew public perceptions and reinforce harmful stereotypes. And usually when they do news, it's either going to be in the political arena or it's going to be in the racial or social reporting. That's what you found?
Yeah, because they stated that the distrust of mainstream media, the Pew Research highlights that 2/3 of Black America feel that the news about black people is negative, and the cover is of their coverage of other ethnic groups. Because me and you had talked about this even when we brought this up in there, and then we just throwing some things out and was talking about how when I was coming up, whenever they talked about on the news talking about teenage pregnancy, they always happen to have a picture of a young black girl.
Right.
And then when they talk about crime, they always had a picture of a black man in handcuffs or being talked to by the policeman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
they call that the perk walk. Or, when they arrest them, they always got them walking in, they, guilty. That's why now they try and cover their face when they go in the courtroom because, and that even happened locally with a older woman. She got in trouble for voting twice. Or she didn't vote twice. She voted for her mother. She sent her mother's ballot in after mother had passed. She sent it in. You know what I mean?
This is what she was going to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, this is what she was going to do. And so when she did that, okay, they could have easily just called up and said, you voted twice. You need to come on in, turn yourself in. We're going to charge you. But what did they do? They send the police there 7 o'clock in the morning. Woman ain't even got her makeup on. And she always, when you see it, she always got herself looking good, dressed to the nines. And so they, got her picture all on the screen, a mug shot. But then, because they went to her house and arrested her, that's a version of what we call the perk walk.
Right.
And the perk walk is to get you on the evening news in handcuffs. And it gives this perception to people that you're guilty. Right. When the government charge you and they see you walking in handcuffs, well, you must be guilty.
Right. And that's essence of what we've always known. And that's an easy sell because like a lot of people have their TV on and they turn the volume down.
Yeah.
And they just look up there and they see they don't know what the outcome. And then on top of that, when they walk those people, do those perk walks, handcuffs, and then they find that these people are exonerated totally. Did the news media ever come back and say,
no.
dude, what I'm saying?
And you make me think of something else with the news media. I'm sure it's across the country, but here in the Chicago area, they always follow they don't follow up on the crime. Like when somebody gets missing, somebody gets murdered, it's like one and done. Well, are you going to follow up to see if the crime was, where they at on the crime? No, because that's not the intent. The intent is to keep your black face on the front of the TV to make sure that any like people coming into the country thinking it's the land of the free, home of the brave, except for these people, you get what I'm saying? We're gonna roll them every night. Since I was here in the Chicago area, it's in Chicago, the news always gonna have a black person doing crime leading. Now, if you're a person visiting or coming to, America, and you don't know what we've been through, and you don't know the game of how we are stereotyping, how we made into being the boogeyman, you will believe that. And that's what the studies show.
Right, because when I was in Europe, a friend of mine is female. She has a young German kid came and patted her on the butt, asking her where's her tail.
Oh, golly.
But I'm saying, but that came from somewhere.
Yes.
That came from somewhere. That it was believed that a person with that color skin has a tail. It goes to that stereotype that that they did with the Obamas. They always.
Yes. No doubt.
They always called her, and then people, and we take media, and media is just not the news. Mm-hmm. But then again, I do remember, as a young kid, like all of us said is that we always want to see people in places that look like her. That's why that Obama commanded the attention that he got, because you got all the, somebody on TV as being the president that looks just like you. As far as the news, I remember Matt Robinson. You remember him? Mm-mm. ABC. He anchored the ABC News.
Okay,
it's back in the black guy. Mm-hmm. And then on 60 Minutes, they had Ed Bradley.
Yes.
And then another thing is that when they allow those opportunities, they tried to cover the whole narrative. Ed Bradley wore an earring, and that right there went against what they even said stuff about it, but he didn't stop wearing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, they saying that this is how we want to present you to the world, and that's the way that they see that we are, being individuals. You have female anchors. Mm-hmm. They have to wear their hair. Their hair a certain way. They finally started letting them wear braids.
And I tell you what, we're going to come back off the board because we're going to talk about the subject on the subject board. And we're going to start with that. It's called black characterization. Black characterization. That's what and it's on the board, and the media is too on the board. So we're going to take a break and come back, and we're going to talk a little bit about the subject board, because that goes right into what we're talking about and how the media portrays us. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm going to get our producer to put that topic board up real quick here. And I think the one that I'm kind of focusing on our board here is the media, socialization, and black characterization off the board. That just happened to be on the board. A lot of the subjects that we talk about are on that board in some way or the form. If not, and somebody wants to add one, they can always just contact us to that email, and we can put it up there if we don't have it. And also, speaking of the email, also, if you're on the YouTube channel, go ahead and, if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not a paid subscriber thing. Just want to make sure that somebody's out there and that we can communicate, because that's what it's all about, just communicating. That's what the show is about. It's not that we're right or somebody else is wrong or we're trying to hurt somebody or degrade somebody. We're just talking. It's just what we do all the time. But I think from what I see in the media is that our characterization and what I see mostly is young black people leading the charge, or not that I'm gonna say this carefully, but generally gay males are anchoring something. Now I'm not saying I'm careful with that because I know how sensitive this subject is.
But you asked the question still.
Yes.
Yeah, why?
In my observation, if there's such a tiny minority within the population, the black population, how is it that they're a high population when it comes to the lead?
Right.
Now, just a question. And gay people can ask that question too. You know what I mean? You're black, true enough. Okay, we'd always need black people, as you say, good what do you say, examples and what's the word I'm looking for? When you try role model.
Role model.
That's Charles Barkley. He was anti-role model. He say, get your parents to be your role model. I'm gonna go out here and beat somebody up. Yeah, But I'm just saying, when you're on the TV, you should understand that and that platform, you are a role model by default, and that's what we talk about the black media. You go ahead. You were saying about. You go ahead and take it from there. I want to.
No, that was a good thing, Savvy, and I didn't really think about that. But then again, when you were saying that, I was like, you're right, is that a lot of those males in those roles on those different networks and different, platforms, is that most of them are gay.
Right, and not to say that they're not.
I'm not challenging their talent or otherwise. But then again, you still ask the question. That's a legitimate question to ask. And then the question, then they can always revert it back and say, why not them? I get that. I'm just saying, but it does strike me that is the case.
Okay, that's a good question. Why not them? But why? Okay, Don Lemon. You know Don Lemon. Don Lemon just got arrested.
Don Lemon.
Lemon.
Yes.
I thought it was Lemon. Okay,
it's Lemon. Lemon.
All right. That dude's talent is through the roof. He's gay, right?
Right. But it wasn't known about it for a long time.
Wasn't known.
Okay.
He wasn't hired because he was gay. That was
exactly.
talented through the roof.
Yeah.
Now compare him to, I don't know if you watch him as now, a Jonathan Capehart.
I know it.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you telling me we don't have a lot of John Lemons out there that we can't, he's gay. Right. I'm just saying that it when you put a Jonathan Capehart, and I'm happy for Jonathan, don't get me wrong, I'm happy for his success. But I'm just saying, looked like to me you were steered in that position for a certain reason. And that's fine. I just wanted to point that out.
It's sad to say, but again, it's twofold. That's a dual. Just like they say with women, black women, you get a 2-for-1 deal. You get the black woman, woman, and then she's black. So I'm sorry,
two minorities.
Yeah, exactly.
In one
role.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So in other words, so they pull the female and then they pull the blacks. Yeah. So that's a whole market.
And that's then and like the other lady on MS now that I think about it, is she gay?
Which one?
So it might be $3 check.
No, not.
I can't remember her name. Simone, yeah, isn't she? She's not. Okay.
She said her husband.
Okay, so, that's fine.
But I'm saying, and out there in YouTube world, is that I'm not being negative or biased against gays. That's not my platform at all. All I'm, because that's the thing about CC Sadie is that we talk, and so if there's a question to be asked, if you have an answer for it, hit us up.
Yeah,
we'll love to hear from you.
And I want to comment because I know our director mentioned this to me, our audio director, about you put the S on the end of gays. I mean, on the end of gays. Now, what if we put the S on the end of blacks? You ever heard that term, the blacks?
Oh, yeah, the blacks, yeah. That's a good point.
Does that kind of strike you sometimes, when especially white person's talking to you and say the blacks are this, the blacks are that?
Yep. And you're right, and it strikes me when they say the blacks, because Trump say it all the time.
Yes.
them some of my favorite people, the blacks. You know what I'm saying? So, I get along well with the blacks.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get that. So yes, that's a check on me. And like you say, I didn't.
And I'm glad you said it, and that's fine. I said
No,
it, but
it's good that he brought that up to check it at that point. Just like I was just saying just a half a second ago, I was saying is that we here to learn, and we don't think that we know it all. And they're saying if we're not learning anything, is that we're not growing.
right, exactly. And the only way we can learn and grow is to communicate and talk,
right.
get it out of you.
Right.
Now, like I say, that's not our intent to offend anyone or hurt
right,
anyone.
right.
No, not at all. But we are going. We still have the First Amendment. By the way, that's what can we get that definition of the First Amendment up there? And I'm gonna read it. The First Amendment. Yeah, this is in our Constitution, and it says, Congress. This is the very First Amendment. It's powerful too. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So you can be, they don't. If you want to be religious, you can be religious. If you don't want to be, you don't want to be. Not a religious-based country.
Right.
Or abridging the freedom of speech. That's what we're doing. We have the freedom of speech. We're on YouTube. We're just talking about things that we want to talk about, freedom of speech. Now, we're not talking about, now where that limit's at is you don't say go into a movie theater and they'll fire and create a storm, stampede
out. Say bomb.
Bomb, that's your freedom of speech is over.
Right.
You're getting arrested because you just made a threat. That's not freedom of speech. Or, just continuing on, or of the press, that's what we're talking about, the media. That's in the First Amendment. Or the right of the people to peacefully assemble. That's on the First Amendment. We were out there protesting, standing out there, putting our lives on the line for 2 feet from... Peacefully. Yeah, peacefully.
Like
we're standing there with a sign, 2 feet from the main line, and you see how people get mowed down. Right. That's why I say protesting is not for the weak or the faint at heart, so to speak. Okay, and continue on to definition, and to petition the government for a regress of grievances. You can go back now. And so that's the First Amendment. Very powerful. This is how we get to where we are. Starting with Frederick Douglass using free speech when he didn't even have the right as a black man for free speech. He was an escaped slave. Right. But, of course, when you get the 13th Amendment and 14th Amendment, mind you, First Amendment was way back when. They took about 100, I don't know how many years to get to this 13th Amendment for the 14th Amendment to give black people the official right to exercise our freedom of speech. Martin Luther King is one of the most famous amongst black people for his great oratory skills. Right. Frederick Douglass is not far behind, but we don't have audio tape of Frederick Douglass, so to speak. And we can go on and on about that. I just wanted to point out that as we're doing this show, that we're exercising our First Amendment. Right. And we're not trying to threaten anyone or hurting anyone. We're not going to put a hood on our head and get on the train and try and intimidate people. You know what I mean? This is not, everybody has freedom, right, in America, supposedly. And it's based on the Constitution. Right.
Because everything that, like you say, about putting that First Amendment and actually reading it and breaking it down piece by piece as far as like where each individual fall. And, and what he was saying, and when he started conversation about we're not here to offend nobody, not threaten nobody, is that we here to actually talk, and if you reach out to us, we can learn something.
Yes.
Whatever that is, but it ain't got to be confrontational. It don't have to be. But going back to the characterization in the black media is that it's just so many examples that once I gave it a lot of thought that I say, man, that's different. Vanessa Williams, they found some pictures of her. And she was Miss America at the time. As a matter of fact, she was the first Miss America African American. Mm-hmm. But then again, because that goes against what they know Miss America looked like when those pictures that came out, the media went into full ramp gear. I mean, every day it's on the news. I mean, it was a 24-hour cycle. Hey, CNN was out at that time. It was a 24-hour cycle that all they showing the pictures and all that about, and and it was something that happened when she was younger.
Yes.
You know, when she first. But going back to that freedom of expression, is that was a private thing, but they made it to say, look at what their Miss America is involved in.
Right. And you notice how Melania Trump has those same pictures, even worse.
Yep, exactly.
You don't even, I don't even know if they showed it
Matter of
one
fact,
time.
I saw it when I ran the first time. I saw the pictures online, but I'm willing to bet you couldn't go out there now and find them.
Okay, I believe it. I believe it.
I have no doubt. But I'm saying, but you saying is that, and you always say it, is that the media has been arrested, they've been put in a cell, and they only get to go out on the yard when the warden says that they're
right. And you see now, I was looking this morning, I see how they're trying to embed them with the military now. They're trying to change the narrative. Yeah, they're on some Navy ship. I think it's Gerald Ford, Gerald Ford. But I'm just saying, you know something's going on, and that's always been a problem. I think it started with Bush. Unlike in the Vietnam War, they just showed up. Media just showed up. You know, we on the scene, we don't show it.
Right.
But when you military starts embedding the press in the
they control the narrative.
They control the narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're trying to get to now.
Right.
And in fact, that's what, like I say, we're in trouble in America because the media is known as the fourth rail of government. That's the unofficial term because the official is the judicial branch, executive branch, and legislative branch. But we always had this cliche in the talking heads world that the media is the fourth rail of government.
Right. And then
because they're very important.
Right. And then like with media, the other thing, like I said, I got so many, but during the Vietnam War, whenever they used to show the black men, they was getting high. You know, because, you know, they allowed that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They allowed it. But I'm saying, but they showing it, that's what, and in the movies they make, that's what they showing, the black man getting high. Yeah. But then again, Vietnam, but then again, all the time you showed the whites, you showed them either shot up. I didn't see that many blacks shot up. But then again, but the black was on the front line, more blacks that was on the front line. Yeah. So of course, you know, it's more of them got shot up. But then again, so the narrative is that you got all of these white Americans over here fighting for our country and dying while you got
the black guy smoking a joint, enjoying just sitting back there listening to the gunshot.
Exactly, playing the music. You remember the DAP?
No, the DAP.
The DAP.
The DAP.
Lord, I think the young folk know what that is.
DAP.
DAP. You ain't never heard of DAP? Give me some DAP.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that,
but I'm saying,
but do you remember?
Like a pound.
But I'm saying, you remember that in the military, that they actually wrote a regulation behind that? Because you remember, it used to take us like 3 or 4 minutes to finish it. I'm there saying but I'm saying that was our language.
Yes.
That was our language.
Yes.
But then again, they made it. But then again, and the last thing I have to say is that look at how they talk about those things about the rap and all those things that they do, and then look at how it caught on. Then it became marketable. Mm-hmm. Then people started doing commercials with Sizzle, Bazizzle. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But then again, when that first came out, they actually did news reports about it. Yeah, it's a different language. Ebonics, you remember that?
Right.
You know, so what I'm saying, but they use that, you know, as a negative. But then again,
that's the boogeyman narrative.
But I'm saying, but it stood the test of their time.
Yes.
You know, and like you say, it didn't become a problem with rap music until the white kids started buying it. Right. That's when it became a problem.
Yeah, and I'm indifferent on the rap music we have today, so that's a subject in itself. We're gonna take this quick break and come to entertainment.
Yes.
And so you guys stay woke for a few seconds.
Not woke.
That's our word.
Not woke.
And we'll come right back.
Not woke.
right, we're back. In the last 10 minutes or so that we have for the show, as always, we wrap it up with entertainment news. The big news this week in soccer, soccer, the World Cup is going on. But the orange Jesus couldn't help himself, Jesus Trump. He had to inject himself in a sport, in soccer, supposedly on a call that he didn't like. The guy is going to get really interesting. So evidently it was a black guy on the U.S. team. He got a penalty, stepped on someone's foot. I guess that's illegal. I don't follow soccer, so I can only.
On his ankle.
On his ankle. And so he got what they call the red card, which means he gets suspended for a game.
Yes.
Now, everybody knows this guy's one of the top players in soccer, right?
The top on the U.S. team.
On the top on the U.S. team. So that's a game changer. And the other team is kind of, what happened was Jesus Trump, he stepped in, he called the FIFA head, right? The guy that gave him the award.
Yes.
And he says, that call that y'all made, that the referee made, I am not sure about that call. Could you look at it? And next thing you know, the guy's reinstated, right? Right. Okay, you know how the other team is feeling now, right?
Because they had a guy with a red card.
Did they?
They had a guy with a red card.
Did he get suspended too?
They went back and appealed it. Belgium went back and appealed it. After that came through, they went back and they still denied it.
He didn't get back in?
Nope.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And that's why they made fun of it. Go ahead.
Right, because that destroys the integrity of the game. Yeah. You're putting your finger on the scale. Yeah. Now, mind you, the USA lost, thankfully. Yeah. And I say thankfully because we would not have been able to live that down forever. Yeah, exactly. United States.
Always be a stain on it.
It's always would have been a stain. So I'm saying just as well they lost because you can't. That's just unheard of. It's like, what if Obama had a call? If Obama had did 1/10 of anything, close your eyes, put your finger on the board of things Trump have done. If Obama had did that, it'll be running for 2 weeks, maybe a month, at the very minimum.
Minimum, okay.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying this man gets. But that was a tragedy for the sport. Yes. And the sport, to me, didn't have that big a good reputation as far as the way I understand it, as far as the rules are concerned. FIFA, yeah.
Oh, FIFA. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Especially, and I got that too. I wasn't paying attention until they gave Jesus Trump that award or that trophy, that fake trophy with the medal. Right. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, because FIFA, they got a bad rep, like you just said.
Yes.
FIFA itself, not the actual players in the actual organization. Right. But FIFA, they just got a whole laundry list. But to go back to what you were saying about that, it was the right call to turn the call over. It was.
I didn't see it.
It was. And all the soccer scholars will tell you that was a bad call.
Okay.
But then again, like you just said, it's just if it came that way, maybe the coaches should have pressed harder. But then where the stank come in here, we all got this stank. Where the stank come in, because he carries stank on him. So everything he touch is going to become stank. So by him calling that guy instead of look at it, it's almost like you saying, hey, I need you to reconsider, because what your reconsideration is that you want the guy back in the game.
Right.
So you say just to look at, and say, yeah, or to say, yeah, it was a bad call, but the call is still good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad call. Because they do it all the time in the NBA
that's
and all
part of the game.
Exactly.
Any sport, you're going to have that.
You're going to have that.
And most fans just live with it.
And that's what you got to do.
You have to live with it.
That's what you got to do.
It's just part of the game, any game. Yeah. Although today's basketball has gotten out of hand. Yeah,
it ain't fun to me no more.
Yeah, they start from the beginning complaining. And that kind of ruins the game to me. Is fluff. As I say, today's basketball, that in particular, is fluff to me.
Is that a referee miss a foul call, and they can sit there and review it, stop the game. I mean, basketball is boring as hell to me now. Basketball, you be
right.
But I'm saying because of all these because it's gonna almost come to the point what we need a referee in the game for anyway?
Yes.
Because you got it on video.
Yeah.
What you need a
Well,
referee for?
And that's what I'm saying. That we always live with the call. That's just part
Live
of
with
the
the call.
integrity of the
Of the
game.
integrity of the game.
And what is happening in the United States as a country, our integrity is kind of based on, because of the Orange Jesus, our integrity is always suspect now, even in the judicial system.
It is.
Right, it's very suspect.
Right, it
and
is.
it should be.
And he makes it okay that the same stuff that they complain about or what they feel like it goes to that sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Because he, like I said, he don't take no for an answer.
Right.
No is something that's not correct, but I'm saying, but that's where they are.
Uh-huh.
That's where we are as a country. And so now you got a lot of people challenging everything. I mean, basketball, football, baseball now, they actually got a video to record whether it was a strike or not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It just,
So, like you say, the time they take in review is that you're right. That kind of kills the momentum of
It
the
does.
game. They take so long.
and it actually helped the other team.
Yeah, I
you
know.
whooping it.
I've seen that. The other team
Exactly.
getting their butts whooped, and they just need that break, and the referee, hey, let's go review, and they get they win back.
So they get a 3-minute timeout
3 minutes.
for you to review
And that
the thing.
changes-
Right,
and
it changed the flow.
That changes the
Yeah.
game. So, things have just, we're out of whack right now. I don't know if we get it back. I don't know. The country is just, we've been taking a beating. And black people is nothing from, nothing new to us. I mean, it's just a way of life.
Yeah.
And that's why I say everything that's happening in America shouldn't be new to black people. We have endured all these things we're seeing from white people
A perfect example
that Trump is doing.
Yeah, perfect example when COVID came. That was the example to show white people of how we sustain or endure in a crisis. Black people wasn't walking around about to kill themselves because they got to sit at home with their kids.
And what's the thing with COVID? I kind of missed.
COVID.
Oh, COVID.
I'm sorry.
COVID. COVID.
COVID. Yeah, that's when we seen, and the thing, and because go back to that not being told no. Trump was saying, I don't think we should wear the mask. So
Go ahead.
Okay, say we don't wear the mask. So in other words, that thing of not being told no, and it just goes into that. How you gonna tell me that I got to? Bump up against anything that
It's called
that
privilege. White privilege. White privilege. That's
a good note. That's a good ending note.
But God is in charge of all things, and this is nothing new to us. That's pretty much the end of the show. I appreciate the people out there watching. And if somebody watches it later, like I say, remind you, hit the subscribe button. We're down to our 6-month schedule. We're going to wrap it up in 6 months, so enjoy the show. See you next week. Next Wednesday, we'll be back on our regular schedule every Wednesday at 1:30. We're live. Email us if you want to join the conversation. And as the ancestors would always tell you, always, always do the right thing.
Peace. See you next week.